Hello and welcome to Emerald Meadows, your one-stop channel for all things RC and crafts. Today we're going to be talking about a small quad I purchased from Journeyonlines, and this is a Cheerson CX-23. They call it the Cheer, but it's just Cheerson CX-23. This is a cute little quad. And I purchased this specifically because it has some features that I really enjoy. One of the main features that I really enjoy, it has a 5.8 video transmitter in this unit. And since I'm pretty much predominantly a goggles type flyer, the 5.8 gigahertz is almost a mandatory for me. And this is one of only the few that has that feature. Although it comes with a nice screen, works very well. I don't use this at all because I find looking down all the time on a screen is not my cup of tea. So anyway, this is the Cheerson CX-23. It comes with 40-45 props. I've flown it. It flies well with these props. It can be a little bit noisy, but when you start flying away from the field, you don't hear it anyway. The landing gear is kind of sweet. It just pops off and pops on. There's a little button here on the side, and you just press the button and they come off, and press them again and slide it in, and they just click into place. I like that, and so it's easy to store in a nice small place. The battery on the bottom, I like it a lot. It is, let me just turn this off, long press. The battery on the bottom is a clip-out unit, and it has a balance charger built right into the case. So for those of you that are not in the RC field with chargers, this is kind of nice because it has everything that you need to charge all in one case. So, and it clips in so you can't do anything wrong. The only thing that you need to pay attention to is that this on and off button sticks out a little bit. So if you set your battery down or store it in a case somewhere, you can see I just set that down, and this is just a test, but if it's in a tight box or a tight container, this battery is going to go on and stay on, and it's going to kill the battery. I purchased this. One of the disappointing features is I purchased this from Journeyonlines, and the battery was defective. This is a battery from a friend, Mike C. in Stittsville, and I borrowed his battery so I could test it and do this video. But yeah, that was very disappointing to have a battery that just wouldn't charge. I think that there's a faulty board in there, a balance charge board. So that's why it's not charging. So that was disappointing that the company didn't have at least some quality control to make sure that the batteries were good, especially if you wait for almost 2 months and to get it and to fly it, and then it doesn't work. That's kind of disappointing. And if you're just someone young and you want to have some fun before the end of summer or something, and this doesn't work, that's kind of sad. That's kind of sad. So anyway, so all in all, it looks really good. I find it's good. It's got some when you get the battery in it has some weight. So I flew it in some wind, and it flew well. As you know, when they fly in wind, they tend to be flying tilted on an angle in order to combat the wind. But that's normal for most quads, even the large ones. But it does have a video camera on the front. I was actually quite impressed. At the end of the video, I'll show you some actual flight data from this camera. It's not obviously for the price, which is under $200 US. It doesn't have a movable gimbal, but you can adjust it just by moving it by hand. And I don't move my camera much when I'm flying. So it's not critical. It's nice when you're taking pictures that you can move the camera around and take some shots. And this is called an intelligent photography. I'm not sure if it's great photographic platform, but I like the camera quite a bit. So let's take a look at some of the features that come with this quad. You notice here on the radio, it's sparse on buttons, but that's okay. If you're a novice, this is exactly how you want to have it set up. Before I move on, there's a little tray here for holding your screen in place. There's actually a clip on the back here for the monitor that comes with it. Okay, let's look at some of the functionality on this unit. There is an automatic takeoff over here. Now you have to hold the buttons down until you hear a beep, which is kind of good. It's a nice safety feature because you just don't want to touch a button and have it take off. Like now, everything is, I have to be careful because everything is actually connected here. So I have to be careful. Also, the one-touch landing. The nice part about the landing button, when you press it, it comes down, but you can still use your sticks to maneuver its position. We have a landing pad so that it doesn't land in the long grass. So as it's coming down, you can move it forwards, backwards, left and right. So that's kind of nice. It has a mode switch, and there's a light in there that is green for altitude hold and red for GPS hold. But guess what? You're never going to see those lights. Not a very good feature. You'll notice that when you do press the button, you'll notice in your goggles or on the screen that comes with it, it'll say altitude on the top, or it will say GPS. That's something that you will need to pay attention to. It has a button here for taking pictures. One short press takes a picture, and a long press will record the video. And of course, finally, the one thing that I always like, and you're always getting into trouble when you're flying, the one button, return to home, you have to hold it down, but you also have to be in mode GPS in order for the return to home work. So be careful that you're in the right mode when you press the button. I would prefer that when you press the return to home, it just comes home regardless of the mode, but that's not the way it is. So we have the return to home, pictures and videos, and I'll show you some of that a little bit later. Okay, so now let's take a look at what the camera looks like, and I will show you some video against my famous test pattern. So this is the actual video from the camera, and this is up against the test pattern. And I can tell you that the video from the camera is very close to the image. The image I see on the screen is very close to the image I printed. Although it doesn't look vibrant, I actually printed it out on my printer, so it isn't a very vibrant picture either. So they're pretty close. That's pretty remarkable. Now you notice on the screen there, I'm just going to set this down. You notice that up in the upper right-hand corner, it tells you what mode you're in, either altitude hold or GPS. I haven't done the circle mode, so you have to hold the mode switch down for a few seconds, and then it will go into circle me mode. I haven't tested that yet, so I can't really address that. Down at the bottom left, it gives you your voltage. It also gives you your altitude, your distance to home right down at the bottom middle. And it also gives you your altitude, and as well as whether you have an SD card connected in the unit. All in all, it's pretty comprehensive. I love the OSD. Even though I pretty much only use the voltage, I certainly like having all that detail. When you record your video on the unit, though, it doesn't give you an option to record that information when you're recording your video. I guess that can be a good thing, because you may not want those numbers in your video that you're shooting, but sometimes it's handy to have. Well, that's our review of the Cheerson CX-23 that I got from Journeyonlines, and there'll be a link to them in this video. But I'm really happy with this. I've flown it now several times, and I'm quite impressed with what you get in such a small package return to home, 5.8 gigahertz. That's exactly what I'm looking for. The one thing that I've had to modify is I always fly with a locator. This one here is a locator, and this is my T-beacon. And you can see that these are pretty big to be putting on this small quad. So I have a new product from the friends at T-beacon called the Buzzy Boo. And I'll be doing a separate video on the Buzzy Boo. This is actually small enough that I can attach to one of the legs on the landing gear, and it doesn't affect the flight characteristics at all. A great little homing device for park flyers, and we'll be doing another video. There's a link down below to the video on the Buzzy Boo. All in all, good product. I will have the links down below to where I purchased it, as well as to the videos on the Buzzy Boo. And I hope to see you next time in Numero Minutes. And please subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.